Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 463 at scavengerlife.com.
This week, I want to talk about the painful gaze of a boss. Isn't that very poetic? So,
Sounds like a BuzzFeed article.
This is why I thought of this. It's a feeling I've had many times.
Yes.
So, I started to work. My first job, I was in 5th grade.
What?
I went to this little small private, like, religious school, you know.
Yeah.
And it's so funny to think about this. I don't know if this was, like, really weird back then, but at this school in the 80s,
Yeah.
the school hired students to clean the school. Like
In the summertime? Like
No. Like
just...
after school.
Oh.
And in the summer, like they didn't have a janitor staff. They hired...
I am, like, in shock right now.
They hired students. And normally it was, not normally, but what would make sense is they hired the poor kids.
Yep.
Because
why would the rich kids need a job cleaning the
Right.
school?
And I was one of those kids. We weren't really poor, and my mom taught at the school, but I really just wanted to do it because I wanted something, like, I thought it was cool.
Like something to do.
I wanted to work. I wanted to get out of my house.
You didn't play soccer. You cleaned the school.
Yeah, I did get into sports too.
Okay.
But
That's something else. Okay.
But that's not the story I'm trying to tell. So, and they paid me $2.25 an hour.
Oh my god.
I know, isn't that crazy? So I'd work 40 hours in the summertime and get paid, like
$20?
$80.
Oh, okay. No, I'm sorry. I calculated wrong. $80. $80. Yeah.
Like that is the 80s too. So minimum wage is probably $3. My whole point was, from a very early age, I do remember the feeling of, like, being at a job and we had like a supervisor who would, like, be watching us.
Right. They're the boss.
Yeah. And even though the boss wasn't there, I'm like, I got to get this done. Like, if I don't get this done, I'm going to get in trouble. From a very young age.
Right.
And at the school too, there was like a reverend priest guy who lived on the school property, and he would, like, roam around the school. He wasn't like my immediate boss, but he was like the boss.
He was
of,
like
the
in charge.
community.
Yeah,
and that's one reason why I don't like that stuff, is just because he was, like, such a mean guy.
Oh no!
I know, right? And then from there, I worked in high school at, like, sandwich shops, and then in college I work at restaurants, but always this feeling of, like, I remember, like, having your 15-minute break and just sitting there in the back of, like, wherever I work, just thinking, like, I just wish I wasn't here.
Just, like, anywhere else.
And, like, is this, like, my life? Like, Jesus, and even when I, graduated from college and could get, like, more of a professional job. Yeah. Like, I worked in TV stations and stuff, it was still the same way. It's just, the skills are maybe higher quality skills or something. Maybe it's more of a professional environment, but it's still the same way. Like, you got to show up at a certain time.
Your boss knew if you left early. For sure.
Yeah, like you can't just leave.
You can't leave.
And you got to get stuff done, or else you have to answer to it. So this life we've had, we talked about it. We own our own time. eBay doesn't get us rich, but we can wake up without alarm clocks. Yeah. Although I have been waking up really early for construction, so I have had to put on an alarm clock. But so I'm working with a buddy right now, working on a building, fixing it up. And, he's really like the guy who knows everything. Like, he's a skilled guy, and I'm more of, like, his helper.
The helper, yeah.
And I do all the stuff he shouldn't be doing because, we're paying him. Right. But that's a nice thing when I work with him. That's so different from all those other jobs I had before we started doing this thing ourselves, is if I want to, I can walk away from what I'm doing and just sit there and, like, drink a cup of coffee. Or I can get on my phone, answer a bunch of emails,
Or
I can jump in my truck.
Go do something. I got to go do something else for a couple hours. I'll come back.
And it is so...
It's amazing.
And I do that.
Yeah.
And it's so nice. And this guy, that's the deal. Because basically I'm paying him.
Right.
Like, and, you know, I'm not being like his boss, like the way it was. Yeah. The way I experienced it.
Well, it's more like a collaboration.
Or like, you know, like, right, like he's more like a contractor, you know, like get this thing done. Right. And, you know,
and he's the same way. I mean, he'll say, oh, I got to run and do this thing for a couple hours, but I'm going to swing back around and finish. You know, there's flexibility there.
And I got to tell you, that is such a good feeling, you know. Yeah. I mean, again, and that is why I love the life we've created, regardless of all the stress that it can create. Because really, that's the thing. I now have the luxury of choice. Like, that's what we bought. I've got the luxury of choice of what I want to do with my time. Yeah. I mean, I guess all the times I've had jobs where I had a boss, I mean, there was some choice. I guess I choose to have that job. Yeah. But ultimately, which we all feel, like you got to make that. You got to have a paycheck, and their choice isn't that great. But at the same time, there's the responsibility of that choice, and like, you know, I could totally just. The choice is like, I never want to do any work, and I just want to go watch movies
I fear
all
that
the time.
Sometimes,
you know, I mean,
I definitely feel
and then
that
like
way.
I suffer the consequences of that. But you know, we're pretty motivated people, and you know, I'm a hard worker as well.
It's doubtful that would happen. Yeah. I mean, I think what you're describing about work, it's sort of like an extension of like school. It's the same, like that feeling of school and work of like, I can't leave. I have to be here. Sunday night rolls around and you're dreading the next day. Right. It's the same. You're like, I'm still in high school, you know? It's
funny that you say that. I've had a couple dreams recently where it's that dream of like, I have like a paper or a project due the next day. And I was notoriously bad about putting off those things. And it's just like so burned in my memory. That feeling of like, I've got to get this done.
It has to happen.
And every part of me does not want to do it. I don't care. Yeah. I don't want to do it. But I never would blow anything off. Yeah, I would always get it done. But I always hated it. And that's why I didn't really like school that much, because I just didn't. I mean, the kind of school I went to, it just seemed like.
I mean, I had stuff like that in school, but I had,
Well, I think if you were always good, it sounded like you always were making better choices. Like, it seemed like...
I was able to make better school choices.
Going to schools that you wanted to go to, taking subjects you wanted to go to. I was always... I made a lot of bad choices just with doing things I thought I needed to do instead of the things I wanted to do.
Well, what's interesting too is like just comparing work to school. You know, you're at the same school from kindergarten till 12th grade, and then you go to college, same feeling. Right. You know, and then you go to work life and you're like, this always feels like this, you know? Yeah. So when we have this independent life, you're like, I'm so glad. I feel like I had a little bit more flexibility with jobs because I had, you know, untraditional, weird freelance style jobs ever since the beginning. There were times where I had internships or jobs where I was stuck in an office and it was difficult. Right. But yeah, so I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about this, that, you know, I cannot remember the last time I had that Sunday dread. Like it's...
Oh yeah, it's Sunday now.
It's Sunday now. I'm sure people hearing this are like, yep, I'm having that feeling right now.
Some people,
you know, I can't remember the last time I had that. To me right now, a week's opening up, and I always like have like on my phone, I have like a notepad where I write down everything I need to do or want to do, and I'm excited, you know. I do have to wake up early, and
but it's
get
for
stuff
something
done.
Good, you know.
But it's things I want to get done.
It's our projects, you
and
know.
Me and, you know, our friend who we are paying are going to go and meet and work on this building, and I'm so excited. It's looking great. I mean, speaking of, we will actually post some photos of the we call it the
roaster building. That's where the roaster's
it's
going.
This building we bought that we're going to roast coffee in, and you can see the before and after.
Oh, photos. I'm going to make a before and after. We just
put, it's metal on the side, so it just looks like a totally different building.
We've just got this building. I mean, and we bought it just like every other building, and we were like, oh, it's cool. Oh, it's not. Yeah. We have to rebuild this building.
And if people are interested later on, after we get everything done inside, but the inside's like really gorgeous, and it really like that's how I want to spend our money, you know?
Yeah.
And it makes me feel good. It's so satisfying. And I feel it's financially smart. To do what we're doing. I mean, we're not investing in the stock market. We're investing in our little town here.
I mean, and we own the building. So, I mean, part of it is not like, oh, we're doing a build out on a lease, a 10-year lease. No, I own this building. Right. So whatever happens in the future, far or near, it's still my building.
And it makes me feel good that people in our community, they see it and they notice it.
Oh, everybody walks by. They're like, oh my gosh.
And I feel like it's just like doing this podcast and, you know, just talking to people about like doing good things. It's just, I just feel like that's just a good way to live. And I don't know, I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Yesterday was a huge milestone because, like you said, they put the metal... Right. The roof got painted last week, so it looks like a brand new roof. It was all rusted, and the metal siding got put on, and it looks exactly like I made like a Photoshop of it just for us to get an idea of what we wanted it to look like when we bought it, and it looks exactly like the picture. Good. I'm like, that's it. Yeah. It's cool. It's really it's good. And I think we've been getting better and better at like doing buildings because this one, I mean, it's definitely much smaller, but we've been able to do it in a fairly short period of time. Yeah. So it's nice. And it helps that it's not like a finished rental. It's like a workspace. Yeah. You know, that helps it go a little faster.
Okay. Let's talk about eBay. That gives us this ability to make the choices in our lives. Okay. Managed payments.
I haven't opted in yet.
Yeah, why haven't you?
Oh, you know why?
Why not?
I was like, I'm going to do this, and then I was like, what do I do about PayPal Working Capital? Do I have to call them?
But so, just to be clear, when you sign up, I don't think
it doesn't switch
immediately goes in.
Okay,
you're just signing up so
to get ready
when the switchover happens. Okay. I mean, so you might as well just
do it. Just shut up and do it.
And about PayPal Working Capital, I think that will just work itself out, you know? I mean, PayPal...
I'll just look it up. I'll call them.
PayPal will come up with some way, or we just agree, like we pay them X amount of dollars a month, just in a separate
I mean, thing, it's got to be something like that. Like, I'm not going to not pay them.
Right. Yeah. Okay. But people were sending me more info based on what we said.
Good.
So one issue I had was someone said they updated the fees so they are simplified instead of separate fees for final value and a listing fees and processing fees with managed payments. So I guess that means, you know, we were curious, are you just going to get like all this weird accounting?
Right.
Where you can't understand what they're charging you at, and I guess that what I'm told is it tells you very clearly the fees are charging you on items, so that's good. You can take your shipping cost from the profit of the item, or you can just do PayPal the way you do it now.
Or a credit card, I think. I think a credit card is, which everybody wants a credit card.
Yeah, because they
want the points. Because we all spend so much money on it.
But if you're worried, if you're not good at like handling your credit card.
Then don't do that.
That is interesting that you can just be like,
pull it out.
Pull it out of the profit.
It's like Amazon. Amazon's like that. You pay for your label, and then you never see that payout. Right.
And so that's exactly what somebody says, is that eBay has confirmed that all fees will be deducted before the payout, so you'll no longer get a monthly invoice. That's not how it happens now.
Right, that's not how
it's going to happen. Now. So it sounds like they're going to make it just like Amazon.
I actually prefer that.
Yeah, where so that means that eventually, when all this stuff is done on eBay's side in managed payments, eBay will deposit the money into your bank account.
Yeah.
And that will be after shipping and listing fees and final value fees are deducted.
Right.
So what's in your bank account is essentially net profit.
It's net.
Right.
So for me, with Amazon, when they were like, here's, $300, I'm just like, basically I don't have to do any accounting because they're like, that's your net.
Right.
So I'm not like, and then the shipping fee and the blah, 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 blah. It's just like, this is what I made.
Sure. I mean,
I think it's simplified.
Yeah. I mean, we're still going to have to keep track of all of those fees because I'm assuming that eBay is still going to send you a 1099 of like the total amount that you made in the store.
It's interesting. Well, so that is the question that we will find out, I guess, at the end of the year is... because it's going to happen in the middle of the year. What does that 1099 look like? Are they like, here's your net? No, they're going to be like, here's your gross.
Yep.
So what was all my fees?
Your, shipping, and they'll tell you all that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know how I'm going to keep track of that.
There will be a way.
There will be a way.
People are doing it now, and they're doing it. So
okay.
It is a solvable problem.
Yeah, totally.
But that is different from the way eBay is now, which I think is why a lot of new eBayers get like kind of caught in a trap.
Yeah.
They sell like over a period of 2 weeks, they sell like these items, and then in your PayPal account there's all this cash, and they're not handling their cash well, and they're like taking their money out, and they're spending
they have to refund someone
on stuff, and then at the end of a month they get that bill for $800 or something, and then they're like, I don't have money for that, because they're not doing that. So I do like that idea.
I do like it better. I honestly do. And look, I heard this argument on the forum from a couple of people where they're like, well, and we do this too, I like to pay my, big chunk of fees every month on my credit card because then I get points.
Right.
And I don't really know. I don't really care. I feel like...
Yeah, I feel like people get kind of point crazy, and I don't know, some people really get into it. I kind of like the idea of just having it taken out.
I don't want to see that money.
Like, not get the points, so you're not like, okay, at the end of every month I've got this big bill that I've got to pay, But
for me, I like being able to put shipping on a credit card and just like paying that off.
True.
So that's like two different things, I guess.
Yep.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. We were having this issue this past week or two where we were getting these weird purchases from, where was it? Taiwan? Singapore, where we would get these offers, like full price offers.
Yeah.
On just random items for like $30. And it would be from people with no feedback.
Zero feedback.
And then they would send a message saying something about they couldn't pay.
They couldn't pay through... It was the exact same message every time, different username. So you're like, this is obviously the same scammer. I don't know. I couldn't figure out what the scam was because in the offer message, they would be like, I'm unable to pay with PayPal. I'm having an issue. But I don't even know what they were saying.
Right.
Really.
And we don't know what the scam was, really.
Well, so what happened was I took an offer. I was like, I don't know what they're saying, but I'm going to take this offer anyway. I think it was actually like a $50 offer. So I was like, yeah, okay. And then another one came in later, and I think I wasn't like paying attention. And I was like, oh, that's a great offer. Accept offer. And I'm like, oh, this is like a weird scam.
And then we got another one that we declined.
Yeah, we declined it and then blocked them.
Those
items, they didn't pay.
Never got paid. And,
I mean, there wasn't a message later. They just like didn't pay.
Yeah.
And they got relisted through the automatic unpaid item case.
Very weird.
So yeah, you're like, what's the scam here? Because nobody messaged me to be like, can I send you a wire transfer? Like there wasn't, it was just like silence.
Yeah.
So
you're
right.
They didn't engage us any further. Like the scam didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. Like, so what was it? It's just, I think it's just more annoying because you're like, oh, that was a good offer.
Yeah.
And it's not real.
Yeah.
So.
anyway. But
I just wonder if other people had the same thing happen.
That's just a weird thing that happens on eBay sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like eBay's pretty good, in my opinion. You know, we don't get inundated with scammy kind of... I don't know if they're good about, like, they notice those buyers and then they
take them down,
delete them quickly, or we just don't sell the kind of things that attract those people. I feel like if you're like into electronics, I feel like you're dealing with scammers.
Look, and anytime anyone's tried to sell their own phone, you know, my old iPhone, forget it. Like, I tried to sell, it was the iPhone 6. It was a few weeks ago. And I had, make offer. No. Set it to the right price, pay immediately, end of story. And I actually sold it that way because I got so many offers of fake people in countries that I'm like, is that a country? I'm not sure. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, let's talk about our numbers for the week. So we sold 62 items. Another game buster week 62, for us.
Yeah, gosh. It really felt like that.
It's like almost 10 items a day.
I mean, I'd be sitting there packing stuff, and I'd be like, I got to go pack 5 more things that just sold.
Today, that's not part of these numbers here. We've already sold 7 things.
I know, I need to pack that stuff.
And just totally random stuff. And so our gross sales, not including shipping, but before expenses, was $2,003. So we cracked $2,000 for the first time in a while.
We had a couple high dollar items, though, which was very, high dollar, $100 items. Yeah, I'm happy with $100.
High dollar to us. You know? Yeah, it was the highest price item was a sewing table for $125.
And I shipped it.
That was all you. I think you bought it for $30.
I bought it for $30.
Yeah.
Look, I was having one of those, this is before the pandemic hit, I was having one of those days where I had like your voice in my head at a thrift store. And I was just like, there's some cool stuff here. And it's priced a little bit high, but I'm just going to buy it. Yeah. Like, I just am like, I don't care. I'm sourcing. You
bought it for $30, you sold it for $125. So even after fees, I mean... You made at least $70-$80 off of that. So
it's not bad.
Yeah, and they paid
it sold pretty fast.
$125 plus shipping, right?
So now it was a metal table that I was able to take apart. It just had bolts holding I actually didn't think I was going to take it apart. I thought I was going to ship it whole, and then I looked at it and I was like, I can unscrew the legs.
Right.
So they lived in Pennsylvania, so it's not that far. It's like one zone, if not in the same zone. So shipping wasn't too expensive. I actually shipped it priority. I was like, it's pretty cheap.
But they paid for shipping.
They paid for shipping. But it wasn't.
My point.
So my point was shipping wasn't that expensive.
Okay.
It was
to
like
them, right.
to them. Right. It wasn't like $75 shipping. Yeah. It was like $28 or something for a bulky. Yeah. I sent it priority.
Cool. But I mean, that's actually one of those items where a lot of people wouldn't buy to sell on eBay because a ship that does take work and skill. So
I was like, if I can get over $100, I'll ship it.
Yeah.
And I did.
But yeah, just, random. Clothes, shoes,
coffee, freaking mugs.
Yeah, coffee mugs, which has been
artwork.
Strangely. Yeah.
Look, the 2 things that have surprised me the most selling during this pandemic, artwork and coffee mugs.
Yeah.
Because I swear to you, people are at home and they're like, my coffee mug's ugly. I have to drink out of it every day. So. It's not Starbucks.
And I don't know. eBay has this new thing. They haven't announced it yet. I don't know how they do this technically. But, like, you went down into our storage and you touched this item.
How do they do this technically?
You touched a comforter, right?
It's like a feather bed pillow top thing.
We got an offer on that, right?
In 5 minutes.
5 minutes afterwards. So I don't know if eBay has some...
And because I must have had the app open in my pocket. No. So this was really funny, and we always joke about this, but I went into our storage to look at our dehumidifier, right? And I passed by this big, puffy feather bed comforter. I don't know what even it is. It's a pillow top thing. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, first of all, it's about to be summertime. And second of all, this thing's taking up so much room in my storage. For a long time. Yeah, like I just like looked at it and I was like, oh, this thing. Yeah. I walk upstairs to my office, it sells. Right. I'm like, cool. Yeah. That makes me very happy.
So after this podcast, we're going to go touch everything.
Yeah, but then that invalidates the algorithm.
So I wonder if the algorithm, like, you are only allowed to touch 3 things or something every 6 hours.
Look, anyway. I touch plenty of things every day that don't sell, so...
Like maybe
it's like the collective unconsciousness.
It's the third finger on your right hand.
Stop, because like OCD is going to kick in. Like
people actually have this.
You like go through and like
Okay, scavenge of the week.
We scavenged.
So this isn't scavenge of the week, but this is how we scavenge. So we actually bought a bunch of stuff on an online auction, and I drove. It was a 4-hour round trip, and I noticed that I'm not the only crazy one. There are people on the forum who say they do that, where they're willing to ship. I mean, to drive. 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, if you live in the country, driving 4 hours, I mean, it's a lot of driving, but, like, it's not really that much because it was no traffic. It was actually into D.C., which normally, Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C. has, like, I feel some of the worst traffic in the country. So I normally really try to avoid that. But now, because of the pandemic...
There's nobody on the road.
It was like driving on a Sunday. It was great.
That's why you were willing to do it. Right. Because...
and it's... It always seems crazy to me when I come back. Like, I just drove 4 hours. Like... That's so crazy. But I got, so for $300, we got 13 boxes of items.
Yeah.
We haven't really been through them yet, so we don't really know exactly. I mean,
the pictures show you, but there were definitely times where I'm like, what is that underneath that thing? I can't really see.
It's basically box lots just online.
We did box lots.
And then I paid $400 for a 12 by 10 wool rug, which is...
That was with all the...
It is $400.
It is $400.
It's a lot of money, but it's for our coffee shop. It's a really nice big rug, I think.
It's beautiful.
And our cats likes to
the cats really love it. Yeah, so I think that was good.
Yeah, so we're saying, probably a month or two ahead of being able to take pictures of everything. We always have enough stuff.
We're still trying to source. Even though my helper is about to leave, and I need to maybe find somebody else.
There is a local thrift store that is open to the public. We just haven't gone.
We haven't gone.
And some people on the forum were talking about that, about thrift stores being open near them, and they had rules about how many people could go inside and social distancing. I mean, it's more about things are slowly opening up in different parts of the country, and it really depends on your willingness to take risks.
I mean, and right, exactly. I mean, you can choose, like the thrift store that's open here. I'm like, I would probably think about going, because if you social distance, you wear a mask. I don't know.
I mean, I will say though, when I'm out in public and I do something, I'm very aware that I'm opening a vector, into my life where I could get sick.
Yeah, exactly.
And it always bothers me just a little bit. Yeah. Filling up gas or going into a store or,
Or like there have been times where I'm outside, but I'm talking to someone and I'm like, am I standing too close to that? You don't know. Yeah, that's weird.
That doesn't bother me.
That bothers me.
It's more about like touching things and stuff, even though I try and wash my hands. Okay, customer issues. So, I mean, look, we talked about this, and it's our own fault. It's like crazy buyer gave us negative feedback, and it was textbook. This was a woman. She bought these 2 coffee mugs. We knew she was kind of crazy, and
I tried to block her.
I don't mean to throw that term around in a loose way, but it's like she sent us all caps, bad grammar,
messages I'm like I don't even understand these sentences.
Jumbled thinking,
Not talking about
she
eBay.
acted as if she was two people, like she was writing from two different... Anyway, the good thing is eBay removed the negative feedback automatically. Just
because the return was accepted.
Yeah. And then when she did return the item, because she bought 2 coffee mugs, she only returned one of the mugs.
Yeah.
And then she demanded a full refund for everything. And then you were able to get that closed, but then she got it reopened, got her money back, and then you had to call and then they
close it
reversed
again.
Yeah. So,
and I actually don't even know if that happened, because I spoke to a rep and she was like, yeah, they should not have appealed that because you have free returns. Right. You're allowed to do a partial refund for the reason of them not returning the whole thing. So I actually have to call again and be like,
but
what happened?
Honestly, it's our own fault because, again, it's who is more hungry, who's hungrier. And at the time, she, kept giving us these offers. They were too low. And finally, I was like, give me this and I'm good. But I knew she was cooped.
I should have canceled it. Okay, so I want to use this as an example.
Okay.
We haven't talked about this yet. I don't know if you saw all those messages that came in at like 2 a.m.
Okay.
Someone bought a bunch. I have like a handful of like these curtain rod thing. They're like curtain wires. And she bought 4 of them. And whatever, eBay is horrible at combined shipping. It charged her an insane amount of shipping. It was like $50.
Because it doesn't
combine them. Like you have to set up rules, and I actually tried to do it this morning and I was like, I still don't understand it. So she purchases them. She sees the shipping price as she's purchasing them. And then she goes on this tirade of like, how dare you charge me this much for shipping? She's already paid. I'm like, you're already paid for it. And so this is at 2:00 in the morning. She even says in one of her messages, it's 2:00 in the morning and I have not received a response from you. I was like, and so she requests to cancel. I'm like, cancel?
Okay.
Refund? Block.
Right.
Because I bet you money.
Right now her hand is like in a wave.
Right. Block this lady. So even if I did work it out with her and I was like, I'll combine it, I'll put it in a thing.
It's just that attitude.
She's probably going to return it and demand blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's just...
Learned my lesson.
Look, it's like, who is it? That one famous author... She says, if someone shows you who they are, believe them. And it's true. Like, if someone is buying from you and they show you to be, like, kind of irrational or quick to anger, just believe that that's who they are. Yeah. Like, they're not going to be satisfied.
They're not going to be satisfied with this purchase.
If you start, it's just like if you start a personal relationship with some guy or gal and they don't treat you right, I mean, believe that's who they are. Like, you're not going to change those people.
So what was going through my mind, because
eBay teaches us life lessons.
It certainly does.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at these messages and I'm like, well, I could tell her I'll give her a refund on combined shipping. Like, we'll work it out. And I was like, you know what? This is exactly the kind of buyer I don't want to deal with.
Ryan, I'm so proud of you.
So I canceled it.
Good for you.
Because she requested a cancellation. I was like, all right, yeah. Block. You can't buy these again. Thanks,
Ryan,
honey.
Good for you. Whoa, okay. a little bit of attitude there, but I'm glad you... And the thing is, I will wake up in the morning, at 6 or 7 o'clock, and I will see that Ryan's had a whole eBay life
at 4 in the morning.
I feel like you often wake up early in the morning, in the middle of the night.
Well, I saw those messages and I was like, I'm going to resolve this right now.
Good. Yeah, and I was just thinking I don't know who the CEO of eBay is now, but at one point it was this woman named Meg Whitman.
And she was the CEO for a long time.
And she bought Skype, for like $1 billion. And her thinking was, I can see the logic, like, people are going to want to like communicate to each other through like audio and a video when doing sales. Can you imagine talking to any of these like face to face on like, some kind of Skype Zoom call, like someone and wants to buy some item and like calls you and you have to talk to them like it's
I mean, that's why it's funny to me. I forget what year that she bought Skype. It was a while ago, obviously. I'm like, she does not know the market because the market is like text based, and that's, it's like Facebook. Can you imagine people on Facebook calling you?
Right.
Oh God.
Yeah. I mean, just a whole point. The reason why eBay is nice or Amazon is that there's
that filter.
There's like a filter. There's a way we have to communicate through text.
Right.
And there's like a back and forth and it's documented and all that,
Exactly.
like if I want to have a face-to-face, I'll go to a store,
Or I'll call a store. Like,
sure.
It's different.
Okay. Things we learned in the forum. Yeah, we were just talking about a lot of stuff this week. Just little people having issues with things, and it's nice. I really like the community because people come with problems, but they come to them not in a dramatic way. Can you believe this thing? It's like that outrage. It's like, don't be outraged. It's just your business. And then it's just like, I'm having problems with this.
What should I do?
And then people give logical, based on experience. Here's exactly what I've done in the past, and people are like, great, done. I love that. It's just like so easy,
Yeah, because people have the thing about eBay is the issues, kind of like we were talking about with that return case, weird partial refund thing. There's such a bizarre amount of nuance to it. It's like, if this happens, then this happens, and then you have to do this, and then this weird thing happens, and they weren't supposed to do that. And how would you know that if you're like, how do I even approach this? And then 10 other people are like, okay, this, like, here's the 10 steps that it takes to get your money back,
Like we got an email from someone just the other day, and a nice guy, but, he's like, this person left me negative feedback. I can't believe it, and
right.
He's being nice, but I can always tell, like, you're kind of new to this, aren't you? Like, this is kind of just the way it is.
Yeah.
And negative feedbacks happen, and eBay sometimes won't help you, even though it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you just keep selling, and all of us, for the most part, always have a negative or two on there. It takes like 12 months to fall off, and it's like no big deal. It's just the way it is.
It sucks.
Like, we just got a negative 2 or 3 days ago, and I'm like, let's get this thing off, and Ryan's like, nope,
they're not going to,
because
I will try. I mean, I know what the situation is and why they won't remove it, because there was never a return opened. Someone said it didn't fit and they didn't return it, and they left me a negative. I'm like, cool. I will literally pay you to return this. Right. So I don't really know what to tell you.
Yeah, it is strange.
It's just so weird.
But it's just kind of the way it is. Okay, before we get to our questions or comments, I want to say that our friends at Broad Porch Coffee and future partners, they gave us actually a code that you can use if you want to. Is it just for subscriptions, or is it just
it's for any purchase,
whether it be a one-time or like a monthly subscription. So if you go to broadporch.coffee and the coffee code is SL10, because it's
capitals
10% off.
You can get 10% off.
Yep, until July.
So SL. So that they know you came from Scavenger.
Yeah, because we were asking, like, how many people came from Scavenger Life, and they just said, well, we think it's this many, because they don't have a way to like
put a little message or something. So this is the message.
That'll be the way. And so people were saying, I like the Ethiopian, but it's definitely light roasted, and if you're not into light, it can be bitter. So I get that. I would say the Southern Split is probably the most...
It's a good blend.
Like coffee. Like if you're looking for like a rich, just like a coffee, tasting coffee. Because some of those light... I roast, it tastes like fruit.
Yeah,
which
I mean,
it's really
very
like.
fruity. But, so... I think the Southern Split is a great blend for most people, but the Costa Rican, the Guatemalan, the Brazil, we have the Brazilian in our coffee maker right now. They're all great. for making espresso, for making drip coffee, for making French press. They're all great.
Yeah. Because it really is like, I do remember there was like a bright line in my life where, I've always liked drinking coffee for a long time. But
it was not good
I was
coffee.
content just like...
It's just like bad coffee.
7-Eleven coffee and just like whatever coffee.
I'll just drink sheets.
Yeah. Just whatever. And then there was there's this whole world where people are like roasting coffee, really good beans, and like coffee can have different tastes.
We knew, but we didn't know.
I had no idea.
So that's why we're excited about it.
Okay, let's go to the questions or comments that people sent in this week.
Okay, you can call our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486. And you have 3 minutes to leave a message.
Hey, Jay and Ryan. This is Paul from Real Cool Surplus. Hey, I had a question for you on a customer that's a municipality ordered a product from me that was around $40, and then they didn't pay, and so an unpaid item case was opened, and they emailed me and asked me if I could take the tax off because they were a municipality and gave me their tax ID number. And I told them I didn't think I could do that, and I checked with eBay, and actually they said no, that I didn't have any control over the tax, that was something that eBay did, and there was no way to do that for a tax-exempt customer. So what I ended up doing was discounting them. It was like $2.36, discounting them that tax amount on a discount to cover the taxes. But they would not accept that because it still showed that there were taxes on there, and they said their accounting department couldn't do that. Do you know of any other workaround for that situation where a tax-exempt customer wants to buy something? If you do, if you could let us know that, that'd be great. Thanks for the podcast. Really enjoy it. Bye.
It's interesting because that is odd, because there's also situations where if you have a reseller license, like I buy stuff to sell stuff, but I never thought to be like, don't charge me tax.
I really never heard anyone ask that. That's a really good question. Like when I go to an auction, they always ask for our resellers license, so that way they don't charge us taxes. I mean, that's a very normal thing, and if you go to Goodwill, that can often happen, although some Goodwills don't take it. I've never heard anyone ask that about eBay itself. Well,
it's interesting now that there's
but that's only because now they've just started
because before
taxes.
They kind of weren't, but it's a really good question, and so because eBay is controlling that, it's not you.
eBay handles the taxes before it gets to us.
And I think what's kind of a bummer too is that he was willing to take money out of his pocket to help get the sale. Like, I'll take $2. That's actually money out of your pocket because. But that's an interesting question.
But that's like
I don't know the answer.
That's like doing a discount like for anything. So
sure, but
it's interesting that eBay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, eBay would have to create a system where.
Well, I guess what the solution would be is you would go into your eBay account, like this municipality, town, city, whatever, and be like, we are an official, here's our whatever. And eBay would be like, cool, thumbs up, check mark, verified.
Yeah.
Because how would I prove on eBay, hey, I'm a reseller, don't charge me tax on my eBay purchases? They're like, no.
Right, because...
But, however,
I don't know.
I'm a reseller in one state, but if I'm buying stuff in California, they're like, we don't care. Yeah, I have no idea. It's so complicated.
The answer is just pay
the answer taxes. Is we don't.
Because the idea is you don't pay taxes when you purchase inventory, but then you pay taxes afterwards when you sell. So there'd have to be a system to keep track of that.
Hey, first-time caller. My name is Casey. I'm from D.C. I just introduced myself on the forum. I was calling about a customer message that I thought was just really intense and strange. The customer ordered a pair of pants from me, and they didn't have a drawstring. Admittedly, I didn't say in my listing that it didn't have a drawstring, but they sent a message and they said, before I formally request a refund and leave negative feedback, I'll await your reply. The drawstring is missing. I did not order a project, nor was this disclosed in your ad. Without the drawstring, pants are useless. These pants are not as described, causing a waste of time and effort for me. Send a refund if you want positive feedback, but cause me no more work for your item because you did not disclose this. So I thought this message was really weird and intense, just the tone of it. I thought it was weird that he was demanding a refund without just opening a return through eBay, because really the message wasn't even necessary. They could just open the return and put item not as described. So I essentially messaged him back saying the same thing, and he sent back another message threatening negative feedback again. These were both pretty long messages, but just to get to the point, he said that my advertisement was poorly written and negligent, my tone was despicable, the transaction was severely flawed, and that his mail, I think he means his note to me, was just a fact and something that my ad lacked. And he said, you will get feedback on my experience with you as a seller, and believe me, it sucks. So for me, I don't really care that much about negative feedback. I feel like if you had a negative experience, you can just leave the feedback. You don't have to keep messaging me about it, and I'll just respond under the feedback with the fact that I offered the return. I don't know. I was wondering, like, this seems a bit like a scam, like he was just trying to get me to send the money back without having to send the item back. And he was kind of using feedback and kind of like holding feedback over my head, threatening it almost. But I just wanted to know what you guys thought about it. All right, thanks. Bye.
I mean, it's so interesting because this is a great call. I mean, I didn't even know that this call was coming, but this is exactly what we talked about with our experience.
Right.
Negative feedback happens. Like, if you're going to leave it, just leave it. We don't have to have
Why
a
you have
whole
to have this conversation
drama.
with me?
But that's, we had an intense buyer like that too. I think we talked about it recently where he was like, I'm so unhappy. This item isn't the pink I thought it was going to be. And, you know, he cursed at us, like cuss words and stuff. I mean, it's just like, whoa, chill out.
Well, also, like, just return it, right, and I'll give you a refund.
But what I think that this guy did was he did a big favor for you, because that's basically, what's it called?
Oh, it's feedback extortion.
Yeah, where he's like, if you don't give me a refund, I'm going to give you
negative feedback.
I mean,
right.
He actually spelled it out.
Like, that literally is the definition of eBay's definition of feedback extortion. So, right, it's frustrating because you're like, dude, you don't want the pants? Send them back.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to leave me negative feedback? Shut up and do it.
Right.
Like, it's like, why are you writing me a novel every day? It's annoying. And you know what? I skim those messages and I'm like, delete, or respond, great, send it back, delete.
Yeah. I will say though, because that last negative we got, the guy said,
no response.
Buyer didn't respond.
Seller
didn't respond. And I feel like, even though we have 30-day returns, for any reason at all, I feel like eBay wants to see you at least respond
have to spell it out
and say, please return the item.
So that was my problem, is that I stupidly assumed.
It's not stupid.
But I should not have assumed that they were like, this didn't fit. I'm like, oh, they're going to open a return.
Right. Like, I think that needs to be our corporate policy.
We have to say,
if someone's unhappy,
return it.
Like, just say return it. Period.
So I got a message from someone the next day about something else, and they're like, I'm not sure this is working. And I was like, here's my opportunity. I was like, it should work. But if it doesn't,
return it.
Please return it.
Yep. So that way eBay sees, because that's often what eBay will say, like, have you reached out?
You didn't reach out
to your buyer. And like, we have reached out. They've chosen not to return it.
Right.
And they're still giving us bad feedback.
They usually still won't take that feedback away.
Okay.
It's worth a try, though.
Worth a try. You can find us at scavengerlife.com. That's where our community is, where we discuss these links, and you can see the photos of this building we finished where we're going to roast coffee.
Yay!
You can call and leave a question on our voicemail line.
As you just heard, the phone number is 540-407-8486.
And you can also record it just on your phone and just
email it to us. Our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com.
Yep. Post an episode every Monday morning. So this may be a Monday for you right now. And we hope
a good Monday, an independent,
full of dread and disgust.
If you want to order a coffee, you can go to broadporch.coffee. Again, we have a coupon code. It's SL10.
Yep.
Use it.
Yep. Okay, we are ending this podcast in
3, 2, 1. Bye.